and it's time to talk about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Trailer comes out. This movie's hitting theaters May 23rd, 2025. This comes after the latest movie debuted the same month as Barbenheimer. People forget that a couple of weeks before with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Subtract the part one. It's just Dead Reckoning. Here comes the Final Reckoning. Ricky Flex, I'm going to start here. Is this the last time we're going to see Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt?
That's such a tough question. I want to say no, because Tom Cruise just always loves to work. But I want to do a spin on it. I think this is the last time he leads a Mission Impossible movie.
Oh my God. You're thinking he's going to pass the torch in one of these goddamn things?
Maybe not on screen, but he becomes like, I don't know, like maybe like, so the next Mission Impossible, whenever it is, it's kind of a reboot, but it's not a reboot. It's like kind of a continuation of everything that's gone on, but just new cast of characters. But it's not like a different universe. It's the same Earth, the same universe.
So a guy who's not named Ethan Hunt will take the lead. Like, it is a passing of the torch.
Yeah, and then Ethan Hunt somehow, and if it's Glen Powell, Ethan Hunt will be in the movie at the end or something and be like, "Oh, young Padawan," or something, or like Glen Powell's like, "This is impossible. I literally can't do this," and Ethan Hunt's like, "That's not like you can't be that. You are literally picked because it is impossible." It like gives like a speech or something. I have a feeling like this will go on, but without, and not necessarily without Ethan Hunt, but he'll be in it in some regard.
The manifestation of destiny. That's what he's going to call him. Shout out. What is that? Which one was that? Was that Ghost Protocol? The manifestation of destiny? The one after.
Shoot. Yeah, Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation. That was Rogue Nation, right? That was Renner. I want to talk about Renner too.
Renner was Ghost Protocol.
Oh, I use them both.
Ooh, I don't remember him in Rogue Nation.
I thought he dropped out of because he pretends to be Alec Baldwin, or is that Rebecca Ferguson when they put the mask on?
Alec Baldwin. Oh my God.
That's okay. But here, getting back on track. I think it's his last time playing Ethan Hunt. I think it's it. I don't like he will be going down with the ship. It would take a lot for anyone to play like a successor. I know we're going to talk about Glen Powell, how he's saying his mom would never allow him to do it. He said on the Pat McAfee show, okay, interesting appearance there. But I think Tom Cruise in this trailer, he looks old.
He does. That's one of the takeaways.
Old. And this is where I'm thinking he has to think of an exit plan. He's got to think of an exit plan. He can't keep making these movies. And it's not only like, oh, he might die doing it. It's like, is there like he doesn't look as great running anymore. Like he just doesn't have it anymore. Like think about like Harrison Ford running eventually in Star Wars The Force Awakens. Like it's like kind of painful to watch. It's like he shouldn't be running like that anymore. Like Tom Cruise is approaching that. He does not look like, even in, I thought Dead Reckoning part one, when it was part one, he looked okay. He still looked aged. He looked like worn and torn. Here he really does, because he's got blood all over his shirt, right? It seems like he's chasing over that plane, chasing after that plane. He's going a mile an hour. To me, he just looks like, I can't do this beyond this movie. I think it's breaking him. Him doing the insane stunt of him hanging off the plane. I'm like, how is he doing that at this age? But it's just the running that's become known so iconic for. If you just like watch the progression over the movies, I don't know if he has the juice. He can't keep doing it. And he also has such a big ego as an actor. He would never pass this on to someone. Glen Powell is a special candidate, because I don't think he would do it literally for anyone else. If Glen Powell's not doing this, this franchise will not continue, and this franchise will not go beyond anyone. Like Tom Cruise will not play a supporting role ever in like a Mission Impossible movie. I think it ends at this point.
I agree that it only goes to Glen Powell. I think he would only pass it to Glen Powell. It's one of those weird Hollywood nuances, or special situations, unique situations. I think so you're saying that Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt dies in this?
No, I just think it ends. First, no. Dude, we talk about the ego of Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise will never die in a movie. Like, he'll never die in a movie.
American Made, he died.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's like him, like Top Gun Maverick, he didn't die in that movie. He's not going to die in Mission Impossible.
Good point.
And I will also say he can't just keep passing things to Glen Powell. This is unfair to Glen Powell, right? Like Glen Powell, he has become the legacy actor guy, the mentee to Tom Cruise as like the prince that was promised for movie theaters. He can't keep making legacy sequels. Yes, they do well at the box office, but this is like kind of in the same vein if he just takes over the mantle for Ethan Hunt. He should be like, I'm going to make my own Mission Impossible franchise. Stop. He probably is thinking like, okay, now it's just going overboard because the same thing might happen in Top Gun 3, which will happen. Like Top Gun 3 is going to happen. It's going to be a passing of the mantle to either Glen Powell or Miles Teller or someone else. Probably this is like, we're seeing the end of like the Tom Cruise run. Like within the next decade. Like this is it.
And I think we projected this before even Dead Reckoning came out when it was announced that there was going to be parts 1 and 2, because just take a look at what Tom Cruise is doing, right? The SpaceX project is still in the works, right? That has not been shot down.
That's like the end game, dude. That's the end game of all this.
And Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow sequel, that's still in development. So those are 2 major action movies. He has another one with Scarlett Johansson. And he is literally going to be he's starting to move away from the action movies as well. Tarantino rumor in the Movie Critic and Alejandro Inarritu movie. So he's kind of setting himself up for this final run, yet also the next stage of his career. It's kind of a combo of the two. And do I think he'll be in Top Gun Maverick 3? Yes. Or Top Gun 3? Yes. That might be the culmination of his action career, to be honest. I think this is the last time he will be action star Ethan Hunt. But I'm not going to count out the Glen Powell Mission Impossible potential and that he just shows up as like kind of just like, hey, I'm here. I'll not count that out.
This is the end of. We can maybe list the 5 last action movies that Tom Cruise will do, which is a lot still, but like Top Gun 3, like will probably be his last Top Gun movie, unless he becomes full on instructor. He will not do a movie if he's not flying in the plane, he won't do it. So like Top Gun 3's got to be it. This has got to be the last Mission Impossible. It's literally titled Final Reckoning. They're doing a poster that's similar to No Time to Die. He's not going to die like James Bond. He's going to be like, I'm not going out like that. I don't die, right? That's just Tom Cruise. Their space movie, right? 3, Live, Die, Repeat. He's got to do that because it seems like there's such a petition, right, by the fans for this movie to happen, and what the Warner Brothers deal needs to happen. Am I missing one? What's the 5th one?
The ScarJo movie.
Okay, so there's like 5. That's it. I think this is it, and for the Tom Cruise run, the Inarritu, yes. Hopefully he's in Tarantino's last movie. It sucks that the Movie Critic isn't happening, but maybe he gets a spot in his next one. Tarantino's talked about him forever. But this movie, just to talk about some of the specifics, I like the score where they're just doing the montage. It's at I want to say it's in the minute 30 mark of the trailer, and it just goes for like 20 seconds. It's just like that we're doing cool shit right now. We got a great trailer. We got a great score. We got Tom Cruise kicking ass, a lot of hand-to-hand combat, him hanging out of planes. It felt like really old school to me, like almost like at the end of a TV show teasing on the next episode of, and that's what you get with like Mission Impossible, almost like the Mission Impossible show, like on the next episode of Mission Impossible, and it just shows no narration, no one talking, and it's just music and action. Almost had like a classic vibe to me.
I was going to mention the no narration, and they're just highlighting the score and the action sequences. That's Mission Impossible. That's Tom Cruise. This is what this franchise represents. That's why it was the best part of the trailer.
Yeah.
Right? So I totally agree with you. A couple other things I just want to kind of mention. Pretty colorful with the planes. Yellow and pink planes. What the hell's going on there?
To me, I thought it was like the color reminded me like I'm going and someone gives me a box of macaroons I'm never going to eat. That was the color of those planes. You know, it's just like really weird out of
That stunt's
nowhere.
gonna be crazy. That's gonna be like Fallout
He's
helicopter stunt.
he's been training for that since the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, he pulled that shit off during the Olympics, and now it's just like this is like easy for him. That was like he did that for the Olympics because like I've done this a zillion times, but I also just hung off of a plane for the latest Mission Impossible movie. Like the man goes to insane lengths, but he's done it before. Like it's gonna be. I think there's a lot of water here. I'm like there's probably a scene and where you're gonna figure out afterwards that Tom Cruise held his breath for 9 minutes in order to get the scene to happen. You know that's meant to happen, and I'm sure they're gonna be pulling out all the stops here, and we'll see more in the next trailer. But what the thing that kind of stuck out to me from this trailer is that it had a lot of carryover in terms of plot from Dead Reckoning. And they took away the part one, you know, and this was supposed to be part two, but it really is a part two. I think they might have changed the ending because it's the last movie, you know, honestly. And the final reckoning just bangs a lot harder than Dead Reckoning part two. Like the final reckoning is like, holy shit, it's do or die. It's everything right now, you know? But I thought there was a lot with like the entity, the key and everything. And like remember this character, they're showing up
Submarine,
again.
underwater.
So the first like minute, I'm just like, this kind of feels like a lot more like I have to remember stuff than I usually have to do for a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, a lot of underwater set pieces. That's gonna be really cool. In addition to the air sequences that we talked about with the plane. I also just want to say this: they did bring like obviously the villain is the entity, but then the real villain, the human entity part of it, only in one scene in this trailer, kind of showcases where this franchise has its hits and misses with villains. Some massive hits, right? But also some massive misses. This one, I'm still not sold on, man. I think it was a big problem in Dead Reckoning, and it looks like it's going to be another big problem here, especially when we already know what the entity is, and a lot of these, and there's going to be less interaction with the entity. It seems like. Remember how we were saying after Dead Reckoning, it's like, oh well, like it knows when I'm gonna take a step to the right or a step to the left. Like, what's the point of doing anything, right? But it's like, oh, it'll know, then you won't do anything. It just always had an answer for something. There's gonna be less of that, which I like. But then, who's the real villain? Can this actual villain, the human character, kind of carry that role? I'm still unsure of.
It seems like people weren't really receptive of the AI villain. They weren't. They
It was
didn't
right
really
after
like.
ChatGPT, like that. It was like 6 months after, whatever.
I think what's cool about this, it looks like this is going to be a full-on chase movie, like a race to the MacGuffin type movie. That almost Indiana Jones ish, but just a lot more ass kicking and a lot more even more daring stunts. Because like obviously, like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a huge influence on like these movies, you know. So I think, especially with the different settings, the Arctic, and then like you have like the planes that look like they're in like I don't even know. They might be like South America or something. It looks like I'm not even sure, but it seems like we're going to a bunch of different settings. We're trying to find the entity. I think it's going to be an epic journey, and it's just having the different settings like opens up a lot of doors for like cool cinematography. You know, it could be a really well shot movie. The colors are a different look. You know, I think the last movie looked a little vanilla. I think they're trying to spice it up literally with this movie. So I'm in on it. Return of my Queen, Haley Atwell. My heart belongs to you. And I just want to shout out what the supporting cast looks like because they didn't really showcase it in this trailer. It was more about this is a potential last run for Ethan Hunt, which tells me more like we're not going to see it again because like we don't even care that Nick Offerman's in this movie, right? Like Haley Atwell's in like one or two scenes of this trailer.
Kissing Tom Cruise underwater.
I don't think that was Haley Atwell.
See, I don't know.
I think it was the person that S.I. Morales' character kills. That was at the beginning of Dead Reckoning, not part one. That's what we'll call it now. Dead Reckoning, not part one. But Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso is going to be in this movie. Holt McCallany, Mindhunter, is going to be in this. Nick Offerman, I think I already mentioned. Yeah. Katie O'Brien from Mandalorian and Love Lies Bleeding going to be in this movie. Seems like a great fit for Mission Impossible with a physical role. That's a pretty good supporting cast. And Angela Bassett's back. Yeah, Angela Bassett's returning as the president. So we didn't even get a taste of them, but like with like kind of like really important, like really good supporting acting castings here, right, also tells me like this is a pretty high stakes movie. You know, I'm looking forward to it, Ricky.
And did you mention Palm Clementif?
No, she's in it though.
And remember at the end of Dead Reckoning, it was on the train, and she kind of like tells them how to get, she kind of goes to the good side, and it
Yeah,
seems like she's on the good side here because she was in one scene, it was in the plane with Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, so it seems like she's a part of the team again, or team now. So that was interesting.
Zernick back,
Zernick,
like that the bad guy from the first one.
and I guess my final thing here is to go back to the Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, and say you had this narration at the end. It's like, trust me, like one last time. They make it really like
Yeah.
daunting,
Mm-hmm.
and like this is the last time, right? And the narration plays into that with the score, and obviously the crazy set pieces, which are seems like the craziest they've ever been. But also, they do the flashbacks to Mission Impossible, the previous ones, right?
This is
And
it.
they're trying to tell you this is it. Is it too much that they're doing that? And they're trying to like zigzag, catch like, oh, catch this cent right here, or like, oh, I got you $1. Like, oh, you gotta be quicker than that. Like trying to fool us. They're teasing us a little bit. I don't know. Or like does something like play out like I know in Mission Possible 3, like the MacGuffin in that one, we still don't know what it is. Do they do something with that? I don't know. But I just think overall it kind of is just telling us, hey, this is the final reckoning. This is the last dance. This is Ethan Hunt's last run, Tom Cruise's.
Yeah, they're baiting us a little bit, I guess,
Right.
a little bit with that. And you know what? It worked in Top Gun Maverick. Like, what happened in Top Gun Maverick tells me he's not going to die in Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, because that was the closest I've thought, like, Tom Cruise is going to die in this movie. Like, when he's got to sacrifice himself for Goose or Rooster. Like he's got to sacrifice himself. Like that is like it's gonna happen. Oh my god, it's here. But now that was like the time to die, for the Tom
It
Cruise
made
movie.
too much sense. They couldn't do it.
And I was just like, wow, they didn't do it. And for that reason, I'm like, he's not gonna die in the final reckoning. He could be in the worst of situations. He could actually die filming the movie, and I won't believe he'll die in the movie if that makes sense. I'll be like, he's not really dead. It'll be some like magical Tom Cruise body double that just shows up.